It's day one in Kerala and we're staying in a place called Sugar Business Hotel. Just woken up, had a really deep sleep, but we woke up at 7. We have to head off to Alleppey really soon because it's our only free day here, so we're trying to take advantage of it and head off to see the houseboats. Looking out of the window, even though it's in the middle of the city, look how interesting that looks. And yeah, my mom's just catching up with my sisters. I'm getting ready. I'll catch you guys soon. We're now done eating breakfast at the hotel with traditional Indian food, South Indian food, which is very, very similar to Sri Lankan food. I think the Sri Lankans stole it from the Indians, from the South Indians. Anyway, now we're waiting on our Uber to take us to Alleppey. Unfortunately, I made a rookie mistake, not the kind of mistake that I usually make. I'm actually very particular about these things when I travel. But I booked our boathouse for So I booked our boathouse for the 9th of December, when in reality I was landing on the 10th of December. I think I know how I made this mistake because I was copy pasting the same messages and I was just trying to suss prices. So while trying to suss prices, I think I might have emailed this guy thinking I'm not actually going to go with this person. So I just gave him a fake date for some reason because I thought it was really smart. Yeah, so I lost $2,000 over there, and I don't want my mom to shut, so I said it very quietly. But yeah, well, all's well though, because I still went through and favorited some of the places that I'd shortlisted. So I just called the other guy up, asked if they had a place to go to, and he said, I asked him any like extra boats today, and he said they do. So I'm not going with the old guy anymore. I'm pretty dissatisfied with how he spoke to me on the phone. So now we're just waiting on our taxi, on our Uber to take us there. It's quite a bit of a distance away. It's I think it's about 45 minutes to an hour, and we're gonna brave the Indian traffic. Previously for the houseboat, I booked with this place called Sri's Tours. So I had to pay a deposit of 2,000 rupees. I typed in my card details on the website, and for some reason it just didn't keep recognizing it. Eventually, I think the payment went through because it went, like, I saw it on my bank statement, but the whole page on his website just went blank. So I sent him a message with a screenshot of it and a screenshot of my bank statement going like, hey, like, can you send me, just confirm receipt of this deposit? Because he was replying really quick to my emails before I paid him. And he didn't reply, and then I messaged him again 2 days later. Again, he didn't reply. And then around about the 8th of December, he sent me confirmation, and I was like, oh, good. I mean, it doesn't matter when he sent it, as long as he sends it, that's all good. So 10th of December, I give him a call, being like, hey, like, we're on our way. Where should we come? What's the exact point of your office? And he goes like, no, the boat was for yesterday. And I'm like, no, it's not for yesterday, it's for today, because I was flying yesterday. And he goes like, then he started being really, really, really rude to me on the phone. I did check my email, and it was definitely my mistake. I had said 9th of December, so I do, admit that was my fault. But I mean, I just felt like apparently it wasn't even peak season. A lot of the houseboats were laying idle. He could have just, been a little bit nicer or said something like, you know what, all right, just come in anyway and pay an extra 1,000 rupees or something like that. I would have been happy to do it if he'd said something like that, or if he'd been a bit more not apologetic, because it's my fault, I guess, that I got the date wrong, even though he didn't get back to me on time. The guy who owns the boat was really, really nice, really sweet, and then he introduced us to the staff on the boat. The cook was lovely. My mum and I speak Tamil, and he spoke a little bit of Tamil as well, so it was quite convenient. And it was quite nice to know that we were doing touring and we were doing something with our time, and we were also just sitting around, because that's exactly what Mum and I did. We sat at the front of the boat and we were just watching, chatting, taking pictures and videos. And this is what it's starting to look like. So that's the driver of the boat, and up right at the back you've got the cook as well. Unfortunately, for some reason, I didn't charge my phone overnight. Was it this guy or was it the guy with the orange shirt? And yeah, so I don't think I'll be recording much today because I didn't charge my phone, but there you go. Well worth it. There were people in canoes. There was also this thing called a shikara, which I believe might be like a faster, more efficient version of a houseboat, but also I guess less luxury. In that it carries more people, so it's more with the intention of seeing the backwaters as opposed to like enjoying the accommodation on the houseboat. Honestly, it looked really nice. I wouldn't have minded that experience as well. We went by, stopped at this fish market. It was obviously a place where our houseboat employees were getting a commission out of. Fish market like thing, I guess. And you can see the green paddy fields as well. Mum's going into the kitchen. And there you go. So I think they've just got fish. This is sea fish apparently. There's more fish in there. Just for the sake of it, we bought some crab and we asked our houseboat cook to cook it for us, and he did an amazing job. It was honestly the most amazing, authentic, local food that we could have ever expected. And you know, towards the end of our trip, we were really craving for a curry like that, even though we're not vegetarian for the most part. Obviously, no trip to Kerala or India, I guess, would be complete without banana chips. And again, took advantage of my last day of freedom, considering the fact that I really should be cutting back on deep fried food. So definitely took advantage of that and had banana chips, really savored it. And yeah, so going through the backwaters, it was really interesting just to see people living their everyday lives that were just so different. You know, like just daily things like, you know, washing their clothes in the lake and putting it out to dry. People bathing themselves in the lake water as well. There were people climbing coconut trees to pluck coconut, which I believe might be for toddy, which is a type of alcohol. I really hope that kal, the Keralite term kal, means toddy, because that's what I've been telling a lot of people. So let's hope that's true. Also, you know, fishing, and I saw men working on the paddy fields. Yeah. So then we were just, you know, kind of just sitting around, and then the boat stopped at one particular location. That's where we were served our really, really amazing lunch. Walked around there. There was a little church there, and there was a little like mill where they were processing wheat, I believe. I definitely do not have a picture of that, so I don't know why I haven't told you that. And yeah, then we went in to the room just for a quick lie down. And yeah, so this was one of the cheaper ones that I found. It was around 6,500 rupees. And whether you do a day cruise or an overnight cruise, it seems to cost about the same. And I believe that is just their way of encouraging you to stay overnight. Having said that, you know, like when I was booking this from Australia, since it was just mum and me, I was a little bit worried since we were two, like, you know, female travelers. I wasn't sure about how I'd feel, you know, just staying on a boat in the middle of like a random village without anyone we know. You know, like in retrospect, maybe I would have stayed, but, you know, realistically, I just didn't have the time either. So, you know, either way, it just worked out for us. So our only pit stop was when we had lunch, and that was kind of like a swamp and then a church. Like the church was quite nice to look at from the outside, but it was also closed. So we went back inside and asked the driver of the boat if he can stop by a paddy field. And that is definitely good advice, because typically I would say something like, oh, mom, they didn't stop there, which means that they can't stop there, so let's not ask. But I'm glad I asked, because he was like, yeah, sure, let's just head out from here early. And then he did stop by a paddy field, and then he let us walk through it. It was really pretty sight, absolutely gorgeous. And then, you know, we stopped by, bought some more snacks, and everything kind of wrapped around a little bit before sunset. Yeah, and taking an Uber there was easy, and a lot of the taxi drivers in India tend to try and make a deal with you, saying like, hey, if I've driven you this very long distance, how about you just give me a little bit of cash for food, and then I'll stick around and then drive you back to, you know, where we came from. And then that way, I guess they don't have to double up on petrol without actually making a profit both ways. And it definitely makes sense, I guess, because India is just such a huge country, and you actually feel bad for them, like they're driving tons of, like not tons, but like a lot of kilometers, and then, you know, to think that they have to drive back to their home and not even like get a profit out of it. So that's what our driver kind of struck up a deal with us like that. But midway, I believe he got a different hire. So he was like, oh, okay, plans change, you know, find your way back. Yeah, so I mean, he was nice about it, but pretty much that's what he meant. So it was quite difficult to get an Uber out of there, considering the fact that, like I said, the backwaters is a bit of like a windy, not so well graded road that leads to the backwaters from the town. So it was very, very, very difficult to get an Uber there. I tried Ola, I tried Uber, and after like 30 minutes, we decided to take a tuk-tuk to the town and then, you know, try to get an Uber from there. But our tuk-tuk driver was definitely a really good sweet talker, and he convinced us to just, you know, take a tuk-tuk back. We just finished at Alleppey and we couldn't find an Uber back. So we're doing it the old-fashioned way. Mommy's just a little bit tired. We're really drained, like you should see how red we are. I don't know if that shows because I don't know how to turn my camera around just yet. Yeah, so we took the tuk-tuk back to our hotel. Honestly, I was regretting it because, you know, initially it was all exciting and different, etc. But then about, you know, 45 minutes into it, to know that we had another hour and 15 minutes to go, it was just pretty tiring. Like, we were really tired and we wanted to just sort of lie down, but we couldn't because, you know, we went in tuk-tuk. So yeah, I guess like the excitement kind of wore off after a while, and then it was just grumpy us. By the time we got back, we weren't really in the mood for dinner, so we went straight to bed. And yeah, that was pretty much our day. I hope I didn't miss out on anything. I'm gonna try and check this audio in just to see if I can also like overlay it with some pictures as well, just to give you a bit more perspective. My thighs were really aching from the very little walking that we did, and yeah, I was just having like, my tummy felt uncomfortable. I'd lost my appetite on the boat as well, and it's nothing to do with the boat, it's more I think to do with my fibromyalgia, because everything just felt normal. Like, it didn't feel like odd, like, oh, my tummy, lost my appetite, something weird's happening. It didn't feel like that. It just felt very normal. I'm sure all of you who have fibromyalgia or know someone who does is familiar with that. Yeah, like in the middle of the night, like, you know, I just wake up to burp a lot. Like, I always have a lot of gas in my system that needs to be let out, regardless of how much or how little I eat. So like, as usual, the right side of my tummy, like the lower tummy, which I always call my appendix, I don't know if that's the exact spot of the appendix, but it was really starting to hurt as well. So, you know, I think even though I'm definitely not even close to my worst, probably at about 4 out of 10 in terms of my fibro symptoms, I'm pretty excited to get this trip started. And yeah, that's it. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you guys later.